Welcome everybody to this beautiful evening and to the Munch UK, beautifully organized by Meera Kaushik and her team, Ambika, Suhani, Subhalakshmi and Vidya. And thank you so much for bringing us close to so many artists, and I'm glad I'm part of it too. My name is CHITRALEKA. The name was given to me in a temple. The temple where the priest speaks when he's, through the God speaks through the priest, and they said CHITRALEKA. It means artist. So I think like God had decided that I had to be an artist somehow. The art of dance came from my father, who was a Kathak dancer. He studied under, this is my father, and Sohan Lal, and this is Maya Rao. They were dancing together, and he had to give up dancing because he had to look after the family and took a job. So I think he was trying to live his dream through me, maybe. Recently when he passed away, I kind of inherited his memoirs, and in there he had written a sentence which made my life worthwhile. He said his life felt fulfilled when he saw his granddaughter Anaya perform her Arangetram, where he, with his friend Maya Rao, and that is my teacher, and he's another friend, a dance critic, they all came to see. So here goes my story. I come from a little village, seaside, a small town called Kasaragod, and not a lot of arts things happening there, but from the age of 5, I somehow learned dancing because of my father. But the teachers who used to come never stayed long enough. Let me take you to my studio. Long enough for me to get used to them. And then, and also there was not many people, and they had to travel a long way. So that was the reason. And I think my life journey as well as my dance journey is like little streams getting together and forming this stream and getting somewhere. Now, my teacher, Mohan Kumar, he came, and he is what I am. Whatever I know today, he's the one who gave it to me. He was very passionate teacher, and his methods of teaching and his strictness and all his creating the body, like body conditioning, I still use it very much. The classes we used to have, as I said, there was no dance school as such. It was organized in one of my friend's house. They used to have this house with the opening in the center and all through side, the open sunlight coming into the middle, and the little places to dance, and they allowed us to use. So all the girls who danced, we went there and danced. Eventually we went to a drama club. They made us welcome there to practice. Lalita Kalasadam, that's where I learned my dance. And later on, I actually learned from my teacher's teacher also, who's Abhinay Shiromani M.R. Rajaratnam Pillai. Both the teacher not only taught me Bharatanatyam, they actually introduced me to folk dances and Mohiniyattam, Kathakali, Manipuri, all kinds of dance. It was great fun learning with them. At the age of 13, mighty rock hit this flow of life. My mother passed away. I was the eldest of 5, so had to look after my 4 youngsters, the youngest one being 3-year-old. So very quickly I had to learn to cook, clean, and also go to school and do all my other curricular activities with my sisters and my brothers. I remember the day after, I was in 8th standard then, and I went to my grandma and I said, that day I had exam, and I said, I'm not going to go to exam. And my grandmother, controlling her grief, she just looked at me and she said, look, whoever has to go has gone. You, young lady, has got a long life ahead of you for which you need education, so off to school. So this is how life's little truth was given to me, like straight out, no butter, no sugar. Same grandmother, when I was 15, she said, she called me and she said, go to your dad and say that I told there's no more dance class because when you have to get married, nobody will marry a dancing girl. So promptly I went and I told my father that I didn't want to dance, or rather my grandmother said that. So my father just said that whose house is this? Who's bringing your food? And who's sending you to all these classes? And I said, it's you. And he said, right then, off to dance class. So that was the decisive thing he said, and I thank him from the bottom of my heart every single day. And the dance, which is my destiny, had to be there. And he also wanted me to do all the exams which were set by Karnataka State Government Secondary Education Board. And his biggest ambition was for me to do the Vidvat exam. It was the proficiency exam. And I did it, and I got first rank in it. I should have been very happy to go to the graduation, but unfortunately it was 1976 and India was in the dark times of the emergency, and my father, for his political beliefs, was in prison with lots of other opposition political leaders. So at the age of 19, I ended up looking after the business also. My father had a studio business, and there was no adults in the house or in the studio. So for a few months while he was being released, I was there looking after everything, and I was studying for my degree, and my brothers and sisters also. And by the way, all of them do different art form. Both my sisters dance, my brothers learned mridangam, and one learned a violin. Now let me talk to you a little bit about my performances when I was little. Not a lot, because I said village and I didn't go out much, but we performed in all the temple events in Kasaragod and Mangalore, little towns next to us. And it was part of like learning, really. We never looked at it as a big opportunity or anything, but it was part of learning. And a memorable one I did, was one of them, there we are, is for Swami Chinmayananda. And I was, I think, 11 or 12. I forgot to show my Rajaratnam sir's picture. Here it is. And also, while I was doing my Vidvat, I performed at U.S. Krishna Rao and Chandrabhaga Devi, their beautiful studio Mahamaya. And that was a wonderful feeling too. Some strange shows that I did. I was talking to Akash the other day and he was laughing, so I thought you deserve it too. So one of the shows like this was some village, and we were all bundled up in a jeep, and the jeep started going, and then suddenly it was in a forest area, and it didn't look like there was any roads, and the car and the jeep was going, and it went and stopped in front of a flowing, it was a river, I think it was a ferry, and we couldn't see anything. There was other side you could see, and before you knew what was happening, the jeep got into the water, and we all closed our eyes, and it was a zzz, water sound underneath till we went across, and everybody prayed. I'm sure we prayed for, holding our hands. When we, on the other end, we reached safe and sound. 2 hours later, we were all on stage, all dressed up. So these are the experiences, stage. My influences. As dancers, I had only seen few big names at the time, and like one of them being Yamini Krishnamurthy, and I saw her, and the next week in the class, I was like embodying her, every moment, movements of hers in the class, and I was leaping across this dancing area. My teacher went, "Oh," he said, "Chitra has been possessed by Yamini," but he never stopped me from trying, and I hope I have taken some of those in my teaching here also. When children try something out, just allow them. So this is the like dance influence, but then we had a lot of classical music happening, Carnatic and Hindustani, and my father being Kathak dancer and a Hindustani musician, it was compulsory for us to go to both shows, and it made us sit in the front and do the talam and all of that. The other important thing which influenced me is the Harikathas, Haridasas tradition. They used to come to our town, into the temple, some Ashada, Shravana, that kind of months, and some 40 to 60 days they would be continuously telling the stories. It could be 1 year Ramayana, 1 year Mahabharata, Bhagavatas, whatever, and each day they would leave it in a certain place that you had to go back in to get the rest of the story. The funny, it's like the TV serials now. And these are the stories that stay in my mind, and the pictures that they used to create in our head, the forest, the palace, whatever it was. The other thing is Yakshagana Bayalata. And it is the most beautiful, it's like a folk theatre, and similar, they used to depict the similar stories from Ramayana, Mahabharata and all, but with gorgeous costumes and beautiful makeup. And the shows used to go from evening, like 7, 8 o'clock, till next morning, 6 o'clock we used to come home and fall asleep. So these are my influence, whatever I teach, and these are the things which come. And Yakshagana Bayalata, I have to say, because Yakshagana is usually a male art form, but in 1977, it was a year of the women, and we, with my friends and my 2 sisters and myself, we formed a all-women Yakshagana troupe, and we went on a tour. So it was a fabulous time. Then 1978 happened, and I got married. And I got married, arranged marriage it was, to Sharad Bolar. I only saw him 5 days before I got married. And I got married and I came here to Birmingham, and I spoke no English, and he only spoke English. So the first few months was very funny. Then we decided to get over that. He knew, he had memories of Konkani language, which was his mother's, and the Konkani was my father's language. So we decided to go for Konkani language. And for the other family members and everybody else, it had to be my broken English, Kannada sentences translated directly to English. and somehow I managed. Those were the hardest days as far as I can remember. No one understood me or my language, and no one understood my dance. And there was no way I could call home to cry or to get some comfort, because the phones were not like this, and I had to call and wait sometimes up to 2 days to get phone connected, and my father on the other end. Is one of these call time, the phone operator from here said to me, why don't you look after a pigeon and tie a message to its feet? That will be quicker than this. So those were the days. And as I said, Birmingham, there was no dance. It's 1978. There was no Bharatanatyam or classical dance. My entry to dance happened from a competition that I entered. I didn't know what the competition was, and I just gave my name in, went, and when I finished the dance, and the adjudicator sent a message with somebody saying that, could you tell her that it cannot be a competitor, she can be a guest. Is it okay if we honor her as a guest? So, because the others I looked too professional apparently, so I said yes. So that is how, and then when the dance competition finished, when we were coming out, there was like lots of parents outside the dressing room who were asking me whether I would teach dance. I said yes. Again, this flow of life. I didn't know what I was doing, what I wanted to do, and I just knew how to exist and make good of whatever is offered to me. As they say, you just have to flow, go with the flow, and then I just knew how to flow. So that was what it was, and I started teaching. And organization like Gita Bhavan Mandir and Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh here, and many of the schools made available for me space to run the classes. And this is where I met Kiran Ratna. Kiran Ratna was then an 18-year-old girl, and who came to me passionate about dancing, and I'm so proud of her. And she is now a professional, running her own company and teaching dancers like Vibharatna, Sita Patel, everybody. And I think, taking my teacher's legacy forward. Getting into Midlands Arts Centre was totally a different issue altogether to teach there. That's where most of my teaching took place for 15, 20 years maybe. But to get in there, it was quite tough. One of the art worker who worked there, he saw me somewhere performing, and he said, would I be interested to teach there? And I said yes. And he took me to meet the dance officer. And the dance officer just looked, and she said, we don't have any Asian ethnic arts here, so we don't know how many people will walk through these doors to try the class. So to which this person who took me there, he said, could we not have a show and then see what happens from there? So what happened is the show was organized, and 100 people came, sitting in our Hexagon Theatre, which is meant for, I think, 80 people or something like that. So over 100 people were there, and 40 of them signed to say that they would be wanting to join the dance class. So armed with this, we went again, and the rest is history as far as Indian dance and music is concerned at the Midlands Arts Centre. Now, 1980, Nahid Siddiqui came to town. I met her, and we struck a friendship straight away. And 2 years later, Piali came, and together we were, we were so happy that we were there for each other. And I think it is the three of us. They used to call us Three Musketeers of West Midlands. I'm not sure, but anyway, Nahid performed. I had the opportunity to perform with Nahid a duet, and we toured together, organized by West Midlands Arts Dance Officer Robert Petty. We did many tours, and both our children were little, and we used to leave them in the dressing room and perform and come running. I don't think it's legal now, but it was legal then. I danced in her production called Taxila, and then we both toured in India together, and then I went to Pakistan to perform also. And with Piali, I have performed so many things. From the days of Return of Spring from Academy, we have toured, driven, done so many things. And she danced in my project and I danced in hers. And from the time that she was dance animator to forming Sampad until today, we are, all the time doing things together. And I think we can write a book, Piali. Okay. And also I danced with my friend Indra Tyagaraja, and she was the dance animator also here, and we performed in Edinburgh Festival, and we did a small tour in up north, and for this Sukanya Shankar sang for us for the 2 shows. Sukanya, remember if you're watching, and I still remember traveling. So these were the performance, and to get my company organized and everything is like through Arts Council, and I did not know at this time what Arts Council was. Before 1980 it was, I didn't know. And then from Arts Council officer from London phoned me and he said, why are you not in applying for grant? And I said, what is that? So he said, okay, I'm giving you an appointment, come over and talk. So I went over and had a chat, and then he explained to me what I could do and everything. So again, the life took another turn, and through this I had one of this award, rather grant, made available for me to go to India to do a choreography course, and I chose to do it with Guru Maya Rao, Natya Institute of Kathak and Choreography, and she devised a 3-month kind of short course for me. At the end, I had to present a piece, and it was Mukta Malyada. That was my first production of my company, in which Piali danced, and I got some dancers from India, Prasanna, Sunil Rajshekar, and all of them, and many of my senior students from here also were part of that tour. While I was in the institute, I not only learned choreography, I learned Kathak for 3 months, and I learned Sarekela Chow in an intensive workshop, and many folk dance forms. So as soon as I finished Mukta Malyada, I decided that I have to do a tour of folk dances. So I did 2 tours back to back on folk dances of India, for which amazing amount of musicians and dancers I was able to bring over. I got dancers like Nirupama Rajendra, Satyanarayana Raju, Kelemane Shivananda Hegde, and Sunil again, and many dancers from here also. My students, Kiran and everybody danced, and also from India the musicians came, Chandru, B.K. Chandru, Praveen D. Rao, Shankar Shanbhog, and Sumod and Snehaja. So it was a fantastic team, and I learned so much from these young artists, and we toured for like 6 months, I think. But the thing happened is that everybody thought I was a folk dancer by then. It only took 2 years for them to find out that I was a folk dancer. So quickly I changed my ideas and I said, I'm going to do something else. So I went to Bhopal to observe Rangashri Little Ballet Theatre, and they are quite famous on adapting Panchatantra stories. So I watched, of course they have like 40, 50, 60 dancers in their troupe, and I took Panchatantra story with 6 dancers and 4 or 5 musicians. And this is one of the pictures of Panchatantra, and for which I used Bharatanatyam and folk dance styles, and music from South and North. We had some musicians from Calcutta, some dancers from Calcutta, and some musicians like S.V. Balu and people from Bangalore. After this, at this time, Anu Giri was my administrator. And one morning she called me and she said, Chitra, what's the next project? And I said, I knew I was going to do something about classical dance, and I was studying Natya Shastra and Abhinaya Darpana pages to see what I can be doing. But it was like I needed by evening. So that's Anu. And I said, give me a few minutes. I've been reading, let me see what I can come up with. So I went through the books and I came up with the name, Kaishiki. So this Kaishiki was the beginning of 3 further projects based on Natya Shastra and Abhinaya Darpana. One was Power and Grace, Tandava Lasya, and Ashtanayika. And during this time, I got to collaborate with many other musicians also, because Kaishiki was an experiment with only drums. I had 3 mridangam, tabla, and all the drum artists only working, no vocals. And the Power and Grace was with North and South, and Power and Grace, Kumudini Lakya collaborated for part of it. And Roger Sinha also collaborated for Kaishiki. So like that, Ashtanayika happened and dancers came, Lakshmi, Gopal Swami, Indira Kadambi, and Subhashini Vasant, and I can't tell you, they're all amazing dancers came from India. And then after that, I did some projects, Emotions, which was based on Mani Mekhale, and what happened after that? Yes, I got an award to go and observe CHITRALEKA. I applied for a grant, Lisa Ullman touring bursary, and then I went and stayed in Chennai, and 2 weeks of every day talking to CHITRALEKA ji and watching with her all productions and watching some of her rehearsals. It was a fantastic time. The life, offered many interesting routes to take for me, and I must say about how I got interested in education work. One day, this is I think again 79, 80 times, and I was very new here, and a teacher called from a school and said, would I do a workshop? And you had to remember that I didn't speak very good English then. Not that I do now, but anyway. She said, we need a workshop. And I said, yes. That's my first answer. And then I put the phone down after talking. She said she'll write a letter and all that. And then I started getting panic. I said, what is workshop? Because for me, workshop was only workshop that I knew was next to my house in India, which was where they repaired the cars. So I was thinking, like, what is workshop? And I asked my husband, and he said he didn't know. I said, oh, okay. Right. I picked the phone again and I called her again. I said, what do you want me to do at the, what do you want at the end of this? And when she explained, then it sounded like it's just class and a little bit more information and all that. I said, yeah, I can do that. So I went, and that was the beginning of, I don't know how many hundreds of workshops we've done, and even to be called our dance company as a dance and education company. I created pieces like nursery rhymes from Old King Cole to science project like Story of Carbon, based on that, and from Stardust to Life, all kinds of education work, and it was an amazing journey. Another turn into the artistic life happened when I met Guy Hutchins, a fabulous storyteller, and with him we created many projects and toured over, I think over 20 years. I had collaborated with him, and it was masks, dance, acting, everything. And I was asked by my colleagues that what am I doing children's theatre and workshops in schools and all that. And I did stop, I did think for a minute, and then I said that it was giving me a lot of pleasure. I really believed in the work that I did, and it was giving me work, it was keeping me in dance, and it was giving me a chance to act and look into themes in very different ways. So I enjoyed, and that was one other thing. Then during that, I think to 1997 something, I met Dr. Tansen Ben. She was my friend for a long time, actually. But this is the time she came to me and she said, would you like to be based at West Hill College? And I said yes. It was a fantastic offer. We had studio to work with, and we moved to West Hill College as a part of Birmingham University now. And this is where I had Jyoti, Leena, Akash, and so many others learning from me there. And we had a fantastic learning time, because we had a whole Sunday. The studio was ours, and we just had great fun getting to know each other, as well as getting to know how to practice dance. Then what else? Okay, when's the time? Okay. Okay, this being in the university, actually I met a scientist called Tony Stolberg, and he is the one who directed me to take up science projects. Story of Carbon came from there. He kept on asking me, why can't you do a science project? So that's where the science project came, and science project brought a lot of other, like ideas in. And then after that I did Maya, I Am, and a lot of Stardust to Life. And I collaborated with Hare Krishna and Nritarutya Dance Company, and musicians, Amit Hari and everybody. So it was it is a very strange and very long kind of journey. And that is my carbon picture. And the final kind of project that I did was on a novel by Pratibha Ray. It's Tears of Fire, and this was one of the pictures from there. And the last little bit of the story is when 10 years ago, after a very long period of Arts Council support, it dried up, and I was left, and I was very worried as to what will happen. But I knew when one door closes and some other door has to open, and this door which is opened is with my teaching, passion of teaching, and I have taught many people, and these 30 people who absolutely decorate my beautiful walls here are my 30 Arangetram students. Ania will take you through them. And also I teach to hundreds of students doing ISTD. And ISTD is now the way that I'm going forward. I am a very proud member of the Classical Indian Dance faculty there and an examiner, and I have been given a fellowship there, and my students take examinations with ISTD, and now we have in our academy over 200 students doing, and I'm teaching with the able support of Jayalakshmi Kazai and Ania BOLAR, and a couple of my senior students also support me in the teaching. So much has happened in the 41 years. From experiencing real loneliness without language, I found my childhood here, and I explored life's little adventures, found out my abilities, being lazy, totally spoiled and totally free, and got pushed to achieve what I did not even see in my wildest dream. And the avatars that I had to take as a wide-eyed young child to being here with learning secretarial course, being a secretary, and what else did I do? Standing in a market in Camden, selling handcrafts, and apart from being dancer, teacher and choreographer. This is how it goes. And thank you, Meera Kaushik, to have invited me to be in this sharing of my life story. And I'm going to share a small dance piece. Actually, this is like I was talking to Praveen, and Praveen came up with some music because I wanted to do some things, and he said, okay, leave it to me, I'll go do the music. And so here is the music and a small piece of dance.
It's okay. I'll do it, don't worry. Just move the thing to the side.
पग घुंघरू बांध मीरा नाची रे, पग घुंघरू बांध मीरा नाची रे, नाची रे मीरा नाची रे, नाची रे मीरा नाची रे, नाची रे मीरा नाची रे, पग घुंघरू बांध मीरा नाची रे, पग घुंघरू बांध मीरा नाची रे, नाची रे मीरा नाची, नाची रे, नाची रे मीरा नाची रे, नाची रे मीरा नाची रे, नाची रे मीरा नाची रे, पग घुंघरू बांध मीरा नाची रे, पग घुंघरू बांध मीरा नाची रे, नाची रे 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 मीरा नाची रे,
Amazing.
Thank you. And this is Anaya.
I'll come.
This is Anaya, my daughter, who was behind the camera all the time. And the story I totally forgot is Sharad. Sharad is a musician and he just supported, his music, Celtic music influenced me a lot in doing an Irish project also. Just now remembered when I was playing flute and I said he plays flute and he played various Celtic instruments too. And loads of things I forgot. Doesn't matter.
But yeah.
Thank you very much, Meera and the team. And thank you everybody whoever's joined.
Thank you all so much and have a good evening.